Brilliance Audio.
In the Pines by Kendra Elliot. Performed by Terry Schnaubelt. For my girls. 1. I'm glad we're busy, Chief, but all these tourists are lousy tippers. Police Chief Truman Daly looked up as Sarah frowned and topped off his coffee. And it's every single one of them. Bunch of tightwads, she continued. Do you think if they find the treasure, they'll still be rotten tippers?
Probably. Can't see that habit changing. Sorry, Sarah.
Truman made a mental note to leave her a couple of extra dollars. 3 weeks ago, a lawyer had posted online a rambling 10-line composition titled In the Pines that supposedly led to a $2 million hidden treasure. The lines had been written by a recently deceased millionaire, Chester Rollins, and the public had voraciously tackled the mystery, speculating about which words were actual references to the treasure and which were red herrings. This week, Truman's tiny Central Oregon town had been swarmed as some of the treasure hunters decided one line was an allusion to the city of Eagle's Nest. 2 more strangers came through the diner door. They all had the same look in their eyes. Hunger, but not for food. They were all hungry for money. Truman watched as Sarah led the newcomers to a booth at the far end of the diner. They looked like a married couple who were down on their luck. His hair was shaggy and his tennis shoes heavily worn. Faded shorts hung on her thin frame, and her backpack was grimy and frayed. She clutched several papers in one hand, and after they sat, they put their heads together, studying the pages and casting furtive glances at other diners.
The clues.
Truman admitted the treasure hunt hype had caught his attention. He had reviewed the clues, but didn't quite understand how people had decided they pointed to Eagle's Nest. They were full of vague references and twisty language, not clear-cut references. It was like reading a stoned college student's attempt at poetry. The press was also trickling into town. The treasure hunt had become a national story. That morning, he'd seen 3 different news vans from Portland TV stations. He finished his breakfast and sipped his coffee, watching out the window. The 4th of July was the only time he'd seen this many people in town before, and that was still a month away. The door opened again, and a young teenager came in. He stopped and scanned the occupants, clearly looking for someone. Truman's radar locked on the unfamiliar boy.
Beat-up boots, shirt too big, jeans too small.
Something about the boy made Truman think of Ollie, his unofficial son. There was an awareness in the boy's stillness, a caution in his posture. This was a boy who looked out for himself, possibly out of necessity. Just like Ollie. The boy's gaze fell on Truman and dipped to the badge on his chest. Truman expected him to bolt, but instead the boy approached, intense focus on his face. He stopped a few feet away, studying Truman from head to toe.
Are you the sheriff? He asked. No, I'm the police chief,
Truman answered evenly, keeping both hands wrapped around his coffee mug. The boy's caution reminded him of a wild animal's, and Truman didn't want to make any sudden moves. Relief crossed the young teen's face.
What can I do for you, son?
He swallowed and lifted his chin.
My mother is missing. She left to visit my uncle, and she hasn't come back.
Truman frowned.
When did she leave?
Almost 2 weeks ago. Truman's hands flinched, sloshing coffee over the rim of his mug.
That long?
The boy nodded.
You haven't heard from her? Did you try to call her?
Truman leaned forward, concern filling him as he wiped up the coffee with a napkin.
She doesn't have a phone.
He looked sharply at the boy, confirming his first impression. The boy's family was poor.
What about your dad?
He passed away recently. And no, I don't know how to reach my uncle. The boy was articulate, his eyes intelligent. Again, Truman was reminded of Ollie.